So you just got back from Tokyo Game Show, which is, as far as I remember, the last big show-ish thingy for games of the year.
Yeah, it's pretty much the last one we get before it's time to gear up for holiday sales and that period. So people don't want to talk about what's coming next year.
And Tokyo Game Show, like a long time ago, was the premier show for games, but the last couple of years it had seemed to kind of get smaller and smaller and less announcements.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of announcement, this year was a big leap forward. I think there were some major announcements made, and that's really encouraging. Of course, the show as such wasn't that impressive, but let's talk about the good things first, and then the announcements. And we got a new Devil May Cry, new Ninja Gaiden, and Shadows of the Damned.
Shadows of the Damned.
Yes, and then if we start off with the Damned, I think. Suda51 told us not to pronounce, to abbreviate it SOTD, but rather DMD.
Yeah, sure.
So DMD, and then we'll take DMC afterwards. But first DMD. It looks like a crazy, typical Japanese third-person action shooter.
Completely over the top.
And just, insane-looking characters and all that stuff. And, it's really funny. It was like a... When they also brought Akira Yamaoka on stage, it was like, I'm sure a wet dream for many fans of Japanese video games with those three guys working on a game together. And I'm really excited about seeing what it turns out, with the support of EA, because, they got a lot of money backing that project.
And for what it is, I actually kind of dug the trailer. I found it pretty cool, and especially the completely over-the-top dialogue and everything, combined with the completely amazing, almost death metal soundtrack, just completed it for me. So I'm pretty high in the game, actually.
That takes us to the next iterations of a couple of other series, similar genre, Ninja Gaiden 3 and Devil May Cry. And
let's start out with Ninja Gaiden, because what I found weird about the presentation was that they said they were going to make the lead person, Ryo Hayabusa, more of a human being, like more emotions and stuff like that. And this has previously been a series where you just used 95% of the time just slashing legs of the different kinds of enemies.
It's always been about the mechanics, Ninja Gaiden, so it's a little bit of a weird angle to put it on, and maybe they're trying to reach a broader audience. That seems to be that sort of the key word that everyone uses. They want to broaden the audience for their games, so maybe that's it. And of course, that takes us to Devil May Cry and the controversy.
Yeah, the controversy that is now a British developer, Ninja Theory, who's doing the new game, which had been rumored for a long time, actually. And so far, what should have been hype on the internet has just been pure and utter rage from previous DMC fans.
Yeah. And it's an interest. It says a lot about the Japanese games industry that a major series like Devil May Cry is moving to Britain. And maybe the series needed a change. I mean, some people would argue, but I definitely think that fans who've been waiting for the next one after the fourth, they may be a little bit disappointed in how it looks and how the trailer looks.
So far, it should be said though that the game is not set for release for a long time. So a lot could change.
Yeah.
I must mention though, even though I don't like the design of Dante so far, I do like that they're finally taking the series as a whole to a new place, because I don't know. The gameplay mechanics of the last few Devil May Cry games have been really good. But Dante and the setting as a whole has bored me for a long time. So
we'll have to wait and see for that one. But hopefully it frees up some resources at Capcom, at their internal studios, so they can do something new instead of just putting out sequels all the time. That's going to be interesting to see. I think they have a title called Asura's Wrath coming up. Or no, that's actually not Capcom internally, but that's another key in a Funa title that looks weird and fun.
Very strange.
Yes. Then Microsoft came out with their keynote, and they had a lot to say.
Yeah, first of all, I gotta mention Radiant Silvergun finally coming to Xbox Live Arcade. It's probably the game I've been waiting for since the service itself was announced. So I was pretty stoked.
And they had a lot of Kinect games. I was a bit surprised to see the announcements that they were so focused on the hardcore, because Kinect so far has been very casual.
Yeah.
All the games that they've shown and all the things that they're promoting is, you know, to widen the appeal of Xbox 360, to broaden the audience and stuff like that. But the Japanese titles, you know, from famous guys like Suda51 and the guy between who did Panzer Dragon and
also new
Matsuya.
Yeah, Steel Battalion, from Software.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this you know, actually translate into you know, hype and sales and stuff. I would like to see some Western games with the same kind of hardcore approach on Kinect.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know,
so far,
no. And that takes us to the show floor, I guess.
Yeah.
What we saw there. I would say I've been to Tokyo Game Show now three years running, and it's probably about the same size in terms of like the volume of exhibitors and stuff like that. But it's definitely going more and more towards a thing where you know, like a big publisher like Konami, they basically had, you know, only Castlevania and Winning Eleven, you know, Pro Evolution, that had you know, a worldwide approach. The rest of their titles were small, portable titles, and they didn't have Metal Gear Rising anything more than like some sort of stage show presentation thing going.
And again, going back to what we talked about before, Castlevania also being developed by a Western
Spanish developer. Yeah. So in that sense, it is there. You can certainly see that the change in the Japanese games industry, and you know, it's a little bit sad, but I think you know, we're waiting to see what's happened. And there are some signs, like the new Ignition Studio that are doing El Shaddai. That's an encouraging sign.
Yeah, that's been done in-house.
Yeah. In Japan, and you know, it's also nice to see like guys like Shinji Mikami and you know, a lot of developers are moving out, doing their own creative studios and collaborating with each other, and you know, it's something like the Shadows of the Dam. That's a result of that.
Yeah.
And hopefully those kind of things, you know, moving away from the very you know, hierarchical structures of the Japanese game companies will free up some creativity and hopefully reignite the creative spark in the Japanese games industry over the next few years. So hopefully that'll be the case.
So will you be going to Tokyo Game Show next year as well? Is there any
Hopefully.
reason for
Bengt
Bengt to go?
Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always a great experience to be there, and there's so much that you experience during a short week. So it's definitely a show that's worth going to, and anyone who's planning to take a vacation in Japan, you know, trying to fit it in there when the public days are, because even though you'll probably spend most of the time in a line somehow, it's something you should experience really if you're a gamer. So if you're planning a trip to Japan, you know, make sure it's in September.